Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
Mississippi passes a Student Religious Liberties Act. Hi, I'm Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, this is a situation where Liberty Counsel has actually come in and offered free legal defense to any school district that is sued by the American Civil Liberties Union over this brand new law that was signed by Governor Bryan. It's called the Mississippi Student Religious Liberties Act of 2013. And we are standing ready to defend this law because it actually is a law that literally sets forth what's constitutional already with regards to what students are able to engage in with respect to religious free speech in the public schools.
Yeah, what possible problem could there be with a law that simply affirms and codifies what the Constitution already guarantees, Matt? And you have called the Mississippi legislators who passed this and the governor, you've called them heroes. And I think that is exactly on point. And I would hope that other states around the country and that certainly Liberty Counsel's offer to defend similar laws in other states would be open nationwide. This is great news, but it's unfortunate that we're at a point in our history here in the United States where secular progressives have taken over the reins of government in many aspects, and certainly groups like the ACLU and some of these anti-theist organizations, People for the American Way and others, that they are so targeting and attacking not just religion in general, but particularly the Christian faith, and seeking to impose religious cleansing nationwide. It's laws like this that are going to help people to dig in their heels and stand their ground in terms of their constitutional rights.
Well, this particular Mississippi Student Religious Liberties Act of 2013 actually addresses what's legal with regards to student-initiated activity in public schools. It deals with voluntary student expression of religious viewpoints in public schools and in class assignments. It allows students to organize religious clubs and activities and allows a limited public forum for student-initiated religious expression at events, including graduation. In fact, we already defended for 8 years against the ACLU. It went to the Court of Appeals 4 times and to the U.S. Supreme Court twice, a case that involves student-initiated speech at graduation, where the Duval County, which is in Jacksonville, Florida, passed a policy that says students can have 2 minutes at the beginning and or at the end of their graduation for a message. Didn't say that it had to be a religious message. It just says for a message, and they could choose the message of their own desire. The school was not going to censor it. That created a limited forum for these students to be able to speak. The ACLU filed suit. They said, well, it's okay if the students say something secular, but not if they say anything religious. That would be unconstitutional. That was shot down through 4 different Court of Appeals decisions and 2 U.S. Supreme Court trips. And we ultimately won that case. And so obviously when you create this forum and it's student-initiated and it's the student's decision what to say or not to say, then that is clearly constitutional. The school is not directing the message, so it can't be responsible for the content or the viewpoint of that message.
Well, and it's the ACLU that is attempting to shut down First Amendment guaranteed student free speech. They have civil liberties in their name, which is really an oxymoron when you consider what the ACLU actually stands for. And again, not surprisingly, on this bill in Mississippi, they're doing a lot of chest pounding and beating the war drums and throwing a fit here. But this is above reproach. It is absolutely constitutional. And, I'm a competitive guy, Matt, as you know, and I always like to I know you don't like to necessarily, but I like to toot our horn. When Liberty Counsel has gone up against the ACLU, we beat them upwards of around 90% or so of the time, and it's because they are on the wrong side of the Constitution and they are on the wrong side of history. And so as you mentioned, we have volunteered to defend this law in court for the state of Mississippi if need be.
That's right, and so we're standing ready. Now, this particular law goes into effect on July 1. The ACLU says that they will file suit against this law because they say that it is unconstitutional in their view. Well, You know, we already know that there's a Supreme Court decision on Bible studies that students can have student-initiated Bible clubs. So that's obviously already been decided. We already know that if you have this forum for student speech at graduation, students can give a message at graduation of his or her own choosing, including a religious viewpoint. That's been decided. We already know also that students, in fact, even the federal government has guidelines that they put out through the Department of Education. This was during Bill Clinton's presidency, that if an assignment is given, and the assignment is to write about a particular historical or some other kind of figure that was influential in America and in world history, you could write about George Washington or you could write about Jesus Christ. And so therefore that has already been decided, that unless you're making the topic specific, but you leave it open up enough where the student has the choice to choose a secular person or a religious person or a viewpoint, they have a right to be able to do that. If they're doing artwork, they can have religious themes in their artwork. So where is the ACLU saying this is unconstitutional? They just don't like the fact that the students and the teachers and the parents and the community will now know what's constitutional, what they can do by virtue of just simply reading the statute. They don't have to go out and read these big, long cases. They're now put into a very simple statutory format.
See, that's the thing about propaganda and disinformation. You know, they say that knowledge is power. And when people have a lack of knowledge in these areas, and the ACLU and other groups have for so many years spread this disinformation, this notion of separation of church and state, a term that is found nowhere in the Constitution, twisting it and bending it to say, take it to an extreme that says a student can't mention their faith in Jesus Christ from a podium at a graduation, something clearly not intended by the Establishment Clause or by the protected certainly by the Free Exercise Clause. When we get the information out there and educate the public, as legislation like this is doing, they don't like it, and so they're reacting in a visceral way, and again trying to engage in viewpoint discrimination.
Well, in this case, I was telling you about the Adler versus Duval County School Board case in Duval County, Jacksonville, Florida. The ACLU, during oral argument, was asked a question. Under your particular understanding, under your particular argument, what if the school were to invite, say, Billy Graham to speak at graduation? Was that permissible? And they said no. Why? Because they said because of his religious background, it's likely he's going to say something religious. What if they were to invite Jane Fonda as a graduation speaker? Oh, that would be perfectly fine because she likely would not say anything religious. So the school, under the ACLU's view, would have to even look at the person's past, their messages, their speeches, and if someone would possibly say something religious, that would be unconstitutional. They'd have to censor out anyone that would possibly have some religious viewpoint and only include those that would have a secular viewpoint. Of course, that argument was shot down, but that's the radicalism, that's the extremism of the ACLU, and that's why they're not happy with this particular bill.
Matt, that is chilling, what you just described. That smacks more of Joseph Stalin's Russia than it does George Washington's America. Our founding fathers would roll over in their grave if they even heard such an argument. The ACLU would be a laughing stock. When you take this all through the prism and in the context of the writings of our founding fathers, and certainly the clear black letter language in the United States Constitution, again, the ACLU is on the wrong side of history and absolutely way outside of constitutional parameters.
No question about it. That's why Liberty Counsel in 2012 sent about 100,000, 99,700 Patriots handbooks on religious expression in public schools to every principal, kindergarten through high school in America. Every principal in the country got one of these particular books. And in that particular book, it's part of our Patriots Handbook series. We have the Constitution. We have others on political activity. We have this one on religious activity and religious liberty rights in the public schools. And we're creating additional ones as well. You can have that as well. You can contact Liberty Counsel at 1-800-671-1776 and make sure that not only your principal, but your school board members and your teachers have a copy of this. We send it to 100,000 across the country. That means one for every principal in the country. But we need to have all the school board members and all the teachers in the particular schools have them as well. So I encourage you to order this Patriots Handbook on Religious Liberty in Public Schools. It's about students' rights in the public schools. The best way to defend our religious liberties is to understand what they are, and when they're threatened or taken away, to stand up and do something about it. So ask for the Patriots Handbook on Religious Liberty in Public Schools. You can go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org, and order it there, or call 1-800-671-1776. Be sure to continually go to lc.org for updated information about Liberty Counsel activities.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.